Going live on YouTube and Instagram. Just waiting for them to wake up. Looks like YouTube has woken up, and we're working on Instagram, and Instagram has woken up. So everybody's awake on a nice Friday afternoon. I'm here to give you an update on the CROM Anthology #1. Moving along, pages are getting completed. But before we get into this, I am Kurt Bruegel. If you're new to this channel, CROM the Barbarian, I'm the project lead and creator for the CROM Anthology. It all started with last year releasing 140 pages of Sword and Sorcery goodness, magazine size, black and white, 4 stories written and drawn by me. The original 4 stories by the public domain, in the public domain. Character CROM the Barbarian, created by Gardner Fox, John Guinta, and then a 32-page illustrated prose about CROM and his journeys through the Warlock of Shardor, which is the pinnacle point of where, for me and my CROM's journey, is basically the beginning in the shift of him becoming a god, a deity. Before then, he's just a youth, having sword and sorcery adventures, but eventually, through my storyline, will end up as the last of what he goes and experiences. Ends up becoming this god that a certain somebody, Conan the Barbarian, has sworn to, as his deity, though he doesn't do all that much in good and helping him. Anyhow, CROM Anthology call for collaborations and contributions. I set out after releasing the CROM collection 2024, and that's gotten us to 228 pages of sword and sorcery, CROM-centric comic book work, pinups. It's really coming together. This is just a mock-up, just so everybody knows. I'm hoping to sell 10 of these because once the real deal is out there and released, I will no longer be selling them. I have sold 7 so far, and I want to thank all of those who have purchased. And thank you very much. 3 more would really help out greatly, and also put these artifacts out in the wild. There would only be 10 of them, other than the 2 that I have printed out. And so I also want to share that at cromthebarbarian.com, I not only sell my own books and my own comics, but I also sell others. The Brutal Blade of Crom #1 and #2 are currently up and out for sale. This was just released in August. Jamie Barrows, who I did an interview with, number 68 on the CROM updates, project lead and artist. Some fantastic work in here. I mean, really incredible indie work. Also, we have Jim Gullett. Though we are out of stock, I just contacted Jim today, and we will be getting those back in stock. So this is Jim Gullett's original 4 stories done for Lucky Comics, and has put them into a collection. Pretty awesome. Of course, if you do not have a copy of the limited edition Drawn Sword, Scoundrel's Dread, Dark Art concept book, Intergalactic Barbarians, you are missing out. This is an amazing treat. And then recently added to the library is Jeff Lafferty's The Berserkonaut, which Jake and I over at hold on. Here we go. Over at Turbo Pig Fighter. We'll be doing an interview with him, I believe, 2 Sundays from now, but there'll be an interview with him, been long overdue. Also have added Turbo Pit Fighters, second teaser, second printing, which was done with Mixum. So this is going to be permanently out in the wild. You'll be able to get a copy of the first 12 pages of what Jake and I are working on. But other than that, let's give you the update. So, just checking in on who's out there. Okay. So as I mentioned, working away at the pages right now. It's just so everybody is clear. This is a mock-up. As you can see, some pages are completed, some are not. As a matter of fact, let me reach back here. I had gone through. This is my copy of the mock-up, but just has all the notes in it that for keeping me, on point, if you will. Oh, wait a second. I already did this, so I'll take these out and everything. I had in the last update that I put up, I did lighten the female and re-inked her, so that came out really nice. That's all completed. So yeah, I mean, things are coming along. All we're waiting for right now are my pages. So I am right now completing my pages. As a matter of fact, I just completed last week CROM Daring. It's amazing. I'm really, really excited. Once again, went through those pages in the last update for CROM Anthology for number 1. So, what I'm doing here is just going to show off a couple more pages that I've been working at. Lalla the Time Machine is an 8-pager based on a Cave Girl comic from the 50s that was done by Gardner Fox and Bob Powell. Really lifted from that to keep basically Fox and Powell's voice moving forward inside my CROM the Barbarian. So if you know me well, I love doing this. I'll even take you to, I do what I refer to as an 80%, I call it skeletal. I don't think it's skeletal. Here we go. Inking. So it's just structural inking. I just take ink pens and brush pens and stuff and basically lay out the comic. I even do the lettering and then go from there. Then I do liquid masking for the white to hold the whites. Then I do a gray graphite wash that kind of just punches a medium value of gray, like 50% gray. The white's still all kept, all the white shapes that I want to keep. But then it's my responsibility to have fun, as I am, and render it up in values, black and white values. And I use everything. Basically, one of the things I use to help build is I'll still, bring in black ink pens, just to get these black shapes. But I play around with color pencils, gray color pencils to be specific, black, white, and then a variety of grays. White paint marker, which you can see I start bringing back, white marks. Pencil, just regular pencil, as well as a woodless graphite stick. So that's when I get. So these pages are coming along. Like this page is like 95.5% complete, maybe even 98.5% complete. I got to let it cool down. This was just a couple of days I had gotten this far on it. I'm very, very happy with how it's going. Another thing about me is this is not my art per se. This is drawing, and of course you could frame this and hang it in anything. My art is this book. That's what I'm working towards. So the marks that I'm making in here, as maybe colorful and generated they are, they're gonna get flattened. So a perfect example is what I just showed of Yeah, this one. It's rendered the same way. Color pencils, gouache, that's another thing. Spray cans, black, white, and gray spray cans. I just let anything I can get my hands on or think in my head that would make a great tone and texture value in working on that. And then, you get this flatness. You just basically have black, you have white, and then all these gray values. And it's very painterly, but it's in the context of this art form, which is a comic book, which I love. I love getting to this point. So that's what the mock-up is basically a bridge to help me cross to get to completing the whole continuity of the book. I'm not altering anybody's work. Also, the placement of the stories in this mock-up is not how it's going to be. I have to curate that and get those pages, the stories, kind of in a sequence, so the whole thing kind of gives you a real nice feeling of storytelling, movement, and maybe even inspired. Just checking there. So with that being said, I am getting these pages. As a matter of fact, today I got up 6:30 or something like that. I had some things to do, but got in front of these pages at around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and sat in front of them until about 12:30, right when I came up here to get this on. So these are the pages right now. Now these are all Post-its because I use splattering, which is paint, and then a gouache, white gouache. And then I also do some spraying. I'll mask out and do cans of acrylic spraying, Liquitex. But I don't do it that'll be the very, very last thing that I do. And the pages, all 8 of these pages will be up to a point where, so these are just reminders to bring the pages to, this place. Because the spray painting particularly, with the nozzles and and I got to set the room and get the ventilation and all that kind of stuff. I just want to do it all at once, not one page every day, going forward. So I make these notes to myself coming along. So things are coming along really nicely. Experimenting, that's another big thing I'm into, is just letting things happen, just experiment. A lot of color pencil was going on. One of the things I like doing are these cool grays. I think this is like a 90 or 70% cool gray, and it's right over my lines. You can still see my lines, but they're just a little cooled down. I do like this hand, though. This is bothering me. He's going to have to kind of dip down. I might even just take a light wash of gray, gouache, just to calm him down, go from there. So there's still these decisions that have to be made in order for me to have a feeling that this is a completed work that can then be printed in there. One of the things, just so you know, that this finger was extended a little bit long. Always in the back of my head, I was like, well, maybe I'll change. And then this morning, I just ended up, making it a little less. She had this really long index finger and stuff. So coming along very, very nicely. That's page 3. The story, I have to say, it's more of a concept than a story. I don't know if that makes any sense. But now when I say concept, like an idea or a couple of ideas, I just want to kind of work. So when I read the original Cave Girl by Fox and Powell, I was very inspired by the time machine element, or time as it is. So Gardner Fox is very recognizable in his writing, especially his fantasy sci-fi writing, is dealing with time and space. And I love that. It's one of my, if not original, connections to his work. And by the way, I'm the custodian of the Gardner Francis Fox Library. So if you wanted to jump over there and read some of his stuff, some of these books of his I have available for free download. There's also a Substack. Twice a week, chapters of his work and his contemporaries come up, and you can read entire stories from these times. The concept is this is not prehistoric Earth. I don't even know if this is Earth, but there is the ability to move through time and space to places and events happen. So with that being said, this story is about a, just get a good, there's a good illustration. There's this guy who has a time machine, has come across a time machine and is now kind of stuck, if you will, in the time and place that CROM and Lalla, or CROM's world, if you will, takes place. So he's actually from like the 50s. And he's actually going to be a reoccurring character throughout CROM's stories as they go along and his development. So what happens is he kidnaps, or basically takes Lalla and is trying to use the machine on new settings or different settings in order to get himself out of this time and place. So there's a little thing about, it's Ralph. Here's the name of the character, now Ralph Norklander, and that's actually from the Cave Girl stories. I love keeping that in there. So there's a little history about him and how he was hunting the leopard and something happened, this kind of stuff. But what happens is it does bring it goes back in time, which shows it works, or moves ahead in time, because he's got to get out of what he thinks is like a prehistoric past of Earth, and ages Lalla. But unbeknownst to him, there's some magic in this world, to go against the science or even complement the science. And then so she deals with him through the animals to kind of be her strength in doing that. So that's what happens. She comes in and in her fury turns the lever, throws the lever. And what is shown are these guys working on the machine, and something's going on. And then Norklander is like basically dropped into, or taken into time and to another place. And we'll see him later. So it's kind of my concept of time and space based out of Fox's and introducing it into CROM's world. And of course you have this beautiful Lalla, which is his sister, and CROM, and then I'll find you, brother, if I must walk through time itself. So I really just wanted to kind of anchor that, have that in there. And like I said, there's a lot of elements in this story that I'm going to be coming back to and further explaining what's going on, because this is probably one of the most jumbled stories that I have in the anthology. And I was a little apprehensive, but I just jumped off the cliff with this concept saying, okay, I just want it out there. I just want, because I'm also hoping to get people inspired and motivated to work their own magic, make their own stories, whether it's writing something or penciling something, or so on and so forth, and contribute. That's the biggest thing. And when it comes to contribution, I have to say, I am super excited about CROM Anthology number 2. Number 2 is already underway. I'm not working on anything personally, but the amount of stuff and the quality and the work itself that's being submitted to me for a review, it's amazing. And I have to thank those individuals. I'm not going to name anybody yet, because officially I will probably... this is beginning of September, beginning of October. I will have some confirmations, and we'll be releasing that information out as this is being released into the wild and stuff. So more to the coming things. So if you are very interested in being a part of CROM's world, CROM the Barbarian, CROM Anthology, you can reach me by going to cromthebarbarian.com. Or you can get me directly through an email, Kurt at Kurt at CROMBarbarian.com. So, you know, that's that. So I only have basically three things to complete. The coloring of CROM Jr, which is my comic relief cartoon, and it's my color experimentation. This will not be printed in color. This will be printed black and white. There are 6 installments, I believe, for CROM Jr. So over each anthology, there will be a CROM story. And then when I get out to getting those all printed in black and white, I will then be releasing them as a color version, collection of this with some extra material and everything. So really excited about playing with this. A little, I gotta admit, baffled, like what I'm gonna do. Like I gotta have myself out in a corner. But experimentation is the key. So that's the thing I'm most looking forward to. As a matter of fact, I was watching some Japanese animation, anime, and was like, oh, wait a second. I could do that for the color pages of CROM Jr. So that's actually going to be one of the first things I do when I sit down to do the color pages of CROM. Some of this stuff, though, is pretty like there. I just really need to separate. What's going on? Separate, you know, with values, but it'll all be with color. So it's some fun stuff, real comical. Also, one of the things I started seeing, especially in this page, was sort of the Calvin and Hobbes reference. So I also want to come back and kind of lean into that. I think it's a perfect thing to lean into. So pretty cool stuff. I'm really excited. Like I said, I love the blurry color, which I got with Crayola washable markers. When I was saying before, I do the white liquid mask. And then I do the gouache, the graphite wash. I had put in their color, the Crayola washable color markers, and then did the wash over this. So they kind of move together, but then they bleed because they're washable. So they do more of like a stain, but it's giving me some inspiration on, you know, doing some radical things when it comes to coloring. So 6-pager, that's all it is. And then here's the biggest reveal. This is the cover drawing. I've showed this off before. So this is a 13 by 19 cover drawing, which was obviously used as the mock-up cover. I had done a black and white cover for my collection, which I did on purpose because I really want this to be like a handbook. So those serious CROM the Barbarian collectors or contributors down the road, you know, would get a copy of this and use it as sort of a launching pad or a reference point, you know, kind of help break ideas and stuff. But I am definitely going full color covers going forward. So I am taking the responsibility for the first one. I will have guest artists do the preceding, you know, CROM Anthology number 2 and 3 and 4 and all that and everything. But this is super exciting in that I'm friends with a famous fantasy artist by the name of Matt Stawicki. We hang out at least once a month, do some tacos and talk about art and what's going on. He has a large oversized printer. This is 17 by 22. I turned the drawing into, I just did an overlay of orange. Yeah, it was like a bright orange. Anyhow, you can see how this is coming about in a second. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to SPX next Saturday. So I'm going to be meeting up with Dan Snoke, who does Rave Sensation, YouTube's channel. He's on a little bit of a hiatus right now, so I'm hoping to get down there to get him motivated to bring back some of those amazing reviews of indie comics and just old stuff that he has and everything. So, and also checking out what's going on at SPX in Bethesda, Maryland. So it's going to be I'm really excited. So he's just verified that, yes, we are getting together. So that's what all that dinging's about. Now, the coloring, I have to say, on purpose, what happens in here, I'm going to be translating over to here. I'm not going to be using any water materials. It's going to be all paintbrush markers. And of course, you have these paintbrushes, oh, here you go. So this is the Sharpie one, and these things are phenomenal. These are paintbrushes with loaded paint all the time until they run out. But I'm going to be, the primary coloring for this is going to be these first, and then color pencils at the end. And then black ink lines to tighten things up. But if you can imagine, from this demonic face all the way down to, the inspiration was I wanted to have Crom like floating in pieces of lava, and it kind of just kept working from there. So this is all going to get black. It's just going to get really, really deep. He's going to be actually like blue and purple, and then this is all going to be kind of green and blues, some yellows in it. But the yellow you can see here is going to be left alone, just to have that, like, as you can see it, this magnetic, like psychedelic poster art thing. So I'm really, really excited to get into this, and definitely the working. And then the last thing I'm responsible for, which are already laid out, so I just have to do the actual illustrations themselves, tighten up some of it, also the story a little bit, but I don't see too much in the way of like maybe a week at that, is the CROM of Clarn story, which is the second in the Taking Fox's early 50s and before, 40s and 50s. He wrote pulp for the magazines. Planet Stories was the big one, and I'm using those Planet Stories as kind of a framework, once again, to keep his voice in step and alive, and then altering the characters and the settings to be more focused on Crom and the characters that surround Crom, like Lalla, introducing new characters and places and stuff. So this actually, too, there's a good chance there's going to be a map I'm going to be putting in the CROM Anthology. I don't have it in here because I have some sketches, but there was nothing really to kind of thing. I'm hoping things come together through the story and the illustrations to help me start laying out Crom's world, which also incorporates Gardner Fox's Kothar, Kyric, and Lalla the Far Travels. So I'm really excited. And then the other thing is I've been reaching out to artists to be given a 2-page spread. And so I'm almost full with those artists, and really excited, and we'll start seeking out the art itself and the information about them and a QR code, the destination for that QR code, because I really want to also give some shout outs to just some incredible people that I've worked with in collaboration or have done. Oh, here you go, by the way. It's a little promo for the Gardner Francis Fox Library, GardnerFrancisFoxLibrary.com. And then this was the newest cover I had done for Barbarian Swordsman for Kothar. So, and some of this material will be pulled into the CROM world and everything. So, super, super, super excited. Therefore, let me just check. Hey, Bad Merc. Should be right. Yep. Your copy of 2024 CROM Collected is on its way. So, yep. Awesome. So with that being said, that is my update, and I'm super excited about everything that's going on. Trying to do updates, trying to keep not only you guys informed on what's happening, but also keeping me on track. Everything's looking good. My feeling is I'm going to be able to have. Yeah, I will be at the place of tightening up the illustration and story for CROM of Clarn at the end of the month. But this month is going to be finishing up the Lalla pages, which I'm feeling either is going to be tomorrow, Saturday, or Monday at worst. So they will be done, and I'll be out working on the color pages for CROM Jr. And then the poster, the cover. Poster actually probably could be a really cool idea. But that's all I have. And I want to take one more time to just share that at cromthebarbarian.com, I not only sell my work, but others. Drawn Sword, Scoundrel's Dread, Dark Art, Concept, Book, Intergalactic Barbarian, Intergalactic Bounty Hunters, Jim Gullett, CROM collection of the first 4 Lucky comics that he did, 2018. And of course, the CROM Brotherhood of Artists, Brutal Blade of Crom number 2, Brutal Blade of Crom number 1. And I just had words with Jamie Barrows. CROM number 3 is going to be released September 21st. So you'll be hearing more and more from me, trying to work with Jamie to help get this promotion. I'll be doing a lot of promotion through cromthebarbarian.com. So come on over. The worst case scenario is just get your name on a newsletter so you can get notified or make a purchase. I have also added Turbo Pit Fighter. Is that the one? That's not it. There it is. The newest second printing of Turbo Pit Fighter, the second teaser, which is Jake and I over at Turbo Pit Fighter's first 12 pages. Some cool end of the world timeline, back matter. They're available over there. You can actually get the story just as a PDF. So from there. Also, too, you have the My CROM 2024 collected, 140 pages, black and white, Sword and Sorcery goodness, 8.5 by 11. Great place to jump off of. Have to state it again. CROM the Barbarian is a public domain character. I'm working with him on purpose because I do not want anybody to feel threatened, if you will, by their own version or me being out here I'm not trying to control this character at all. It's completely the opposite. I want collaborations and contributions and work. Get the voice out about us indie creators. Yes, so that's that. And of course, right now in the works, coming to a close, is CROM Anthology number 1. Looking good for a October release. I'll tell you this, the one thing that will hold me out in time is, getting proof copies printed for me to review, at least, obvious, but there's some other individuals that I'm going to want to get copies and then be able to have them come on and we'll do some discussion. So that can be 3 weeks to a month of time, but I do want to get this out anxiously in time. So there might be some shifting in how things, especially with the talking and the updates, and having guests on and everything. So, but I feel really confident. But with that being said, like tomorrow, I won't be getting up directly to work on CROM because I got a pretty large commission. So when you do get commission work, which means you got some scratch, that does take some precedence. So tomorrow I have to get that large commission started. Doesn't mean I can't then jump from that and start working on my CROM pages. But when it's all said and done, this mock-up is available. It's 228 pages right now, black and white. Nothing in here is etched in stone and where the stories are placement. Some of the stuff is absolutely completed. Some of the stuff is needing to be completed. It was an ability to give myself, an idea of what I have to get done and how things are going to look in the way of continuity for that. So would love to see 10 of these copies out there in the wild. 7 have been purchased, and I want to thank those individuals again for supporting CROM and me and all the contributors too going forward. But I'd like to see 3 more copies. So CROMthebarbarian.com to check out more. This is update number 69. But there's tons of stuff in the way of blogs, videos, links to the videos, and the store with comics that you can purchase to keep you in your sword and sorcery fix. So other than that, I'm going to check and see if there's any more. Hey, John Molina and Saboteur Comics. Love that. Thank you. All right, guys. And that's what I have, because I got some other things I got to get to and finishing my day working. And I'm sure you guys are all sneaking out either at lunch or, somewhere at work. It is Friday though, right? But I can't thank you guys enough for stopping by. If you're coming on the afterplay, if you have questions, always feel free to either put them in the comments. You can always email me at kurt@cromthebarbarian.com. I'm very open and communicative. So, and I hope my passion for this comes across. So once again, thank you for your support, and we'll see you in the next update. Week and a half is what I always shoot for. Take care, everybody.